almost 80% of women in tech here in this field, they feel that it's harder for them to really demonstrate their value. Does it make sense? Not really, but this is a really, really big number. When it comes to promotion, 4 times more chances for men to get promoted. Do we think it makes sense? Not really. And there is another thing, which is, I would say, the traditional gender and also social expectation that has really made access to jobs in technology a little bit more complicated. When I was out of school, the best students in mathematics and science, all women, 8 out of 10. The problem is, when you look at it, in technology today, it's 2 and 8. 2 women for 8 men. This is more or less where we are. So it is very clear that when you think about it, this is something that we have to change in a big way. And so let me go through a little bit through some of the elements that I think Victoria talked about it. I think also, you look at it, you have those biases. Then you have a phenomenon that is technology helping people to be more productive. Technology also removing some jobs off the market. And the third one is COVID-19. COVID-19 has accelerated a lot of trends that were nascent and really exploded during the past 2 years. A lot of jobs, frontline jobs in retail, in services, actually got lost. And today, it's a big number. For 3 people who lost their job during COVID-19, in a lot of those jobs, 2 are women and 1 is man. What does it mean? It means that technology has really accelerated the level of development to really take over a lot of those jobs. What does it mean? It means that we have to change, and as a company, this is what we are doing. And so, think about it. You lose your job, you end up being home, you end up having to take care of your kids because schools are closed, access to help and childcare, etc., not there. So you know that. I think it was really well explained, and I just want to reemphasize one thing. As companies in the tech industry, we have to reinvent drastically the way we operate as company and the way we impact the communities and our activities around the world. And so, technology has been amazing during COVID-19. Everybody said, wow, thanks to tech companies, we were now able to work from home. But working from home is not really the answer. It helped for a short term. The reality is that because now people are really using the technology that was invented and developed by tech companies, they end up thinking about their own operating model, not only supply chain, but also what work can be done through and with technology, and what job can be replaced by technology. So this is a real big case for inclusion that we are going to talk about. So now, let me go through, I would say, this business case. I think Mrs. Belan talked about it very well. I think the panel talked about it very well. Hey, it's a business case. Sell that to your organization and people will understand. We know that companies that have a higher representation of women are more effective, more productive, do a business that is much better. They serve also much better the different communities. And in terms of attracting talent, it has also a big impact. But it's not only gender. It's not only gender. It's way broader than that. It's different people in a big way. And so when you think about it, we have, and you can see that, 33% of the technology jobs today that cannot be filled. This number, by the way, is higher by 7 points or 8 points compared to 2 years ago. What does it mean? It means that technology jobs have grown up. We can't fulfill them. But it means also something else. It means that every other company that is in the non-tech has added technology skills and competencies needed in their own industries. And so if a technology company like Microsoft, we are not able to increase the pool in order to respond to the 33%, then this number is going to be 40 and 45 and even more. So what it calls for a big change in terms of how we really address this topic, and we'll talk about how we, as Microsoft, but we're not only Microsoft, we work with an ecosystem. We are going to really go to the younger age to really make sure that young girls, young women, get excited by technology. One thing also that is important is this notion of inclusion. A lot of kids today, they don't go to work for a company because they like the company. Yeah, they heard about it. So they say, yeah, I'm going to join. But one thing is sure, they're going to leave it if they don't feel included. And so this notion of included is very important. In terms of human case, and this is why it's not a diversity thing, it's more an inclusion thing in a much bigger way. People who don't feel included, they are less productive. I'm sure some of you feel that. When you are excluded, I love this word, procrastinate. It's great. You look around, you go around, you don't do too much, and you become more frustrated in a big way. And you start to do comparison between you, your neighbor, your friend, your colleague in the same company. Then, less likely to cooperate. This is true. And why do we talk about that? Because at Microsoft, we leverage science in a big way to really understand what needs to be done, not only in terms of programs, but also technology to make sure that at the end, people will continue to work and give their best. But only if they are included, if they all feel included, they're going to be successful. So can we move? Yeah, because I can't move it from here. And so Microsoft, mission-driven company. Our mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. The word empower is important. Every person, no matter who she is, what he or she does, we need to provide them with the technology to help them achieve what they want to achieve. Science is very important. We have a set of scientists who are really looking and analyzing behaviors of people in order to make sure that in our product, we can use this science to change the way technology will be approached by people. how not only easy it's going to be to use, but really to make it a little bit more intelligent to understand exactly what's going on in the head of people. So we have a fair amount of people dedicated to this aspect. Globally informed, we are a global company. Like most of you here, you are global companies. What does it mean? It means that we serve communities, very different communities, 194 countries, different communities, different areas of the world, different of everything. And for that, it is important that our mission takes this notion of inclusion to heart. Because there is no way we're going to serve a country, a region, a community, if we don't understand what and how this community, this country function. So the notion of inclusion is becoming way bigger, way more important at Microsoft for the past 7 to 10 years. The last point is also important, which is outcome-oriented. You know, we thought about it a lot. And we said, hey, things will happen naturally. Unfortunately, at Microsoft, things happen not naturally. So if you say to people, hey, just do it, not going to happen. So we are outcome-oriented. My compensation is based, in part, on diversity, but more important, inclusion. And I would say inclusion and diversity. And it's not a small amount of the compensation. So we are really taking that seriously. And of course, typically Microsoft, very often in, I would say, some American company, you need to give a little bit of incentive as well for people to move, okay? Some people in some part of the world call that quota. We just give people objective. Then it's also about our culture. It's all about the culture. If the culture is not embraced by people, nothing is going to happen. And so we had to do a very fair amount of work on ourselves. How can we, should we change? The way we draw people, diverse people, different people to Microsoft is also very different. We don't go to the same school to pick